Hi everyone. Have you thought about the day when this coronavirus has gone? Our lives are starting to return to a semblance of normal. Your spouse goes back to work, your kids go back to school, you go back to work, and where does that leave your new puppy? After weeks of being in your home, having your attention 24/7, all of a sudden, you're going to walk out the door and not come home for 6 hours? We have to prepare now so that your puppy will not develop separation anxiety when you go back to work. What exactly can we do without leaving the house to help your new puppy or to help your dog to not develop separation anxiety? You brought a new puppy into your home. Your intention maybe was to take a week off work and help the puppy adjust to their crate, potty training, get them settled, and then you would go back to work. Well, unfortunately, with the coronavirus, our lives have been turned upside down and we are isolated. Now for our puppy right now, they think it's wonderful. Someone plays with them all the time. You're always home. They don't know what happens in the real world. Welcome to Diamond Dog Training, where we offer you positive, effective training tips to help you train your dog. We're going to give you ways to help your puppy so that they can be independent and not be upset when you go back to work. First thing is a schedule. Everyone must be on a schedule, including your puppy. There needs to be a time when your puppy is in a crate or in a puppy playpen. That time needs to be consistent during the day. And when everyone starts to settle down to work, your puppy needs to be in their crate or in their puppy playpen. And it needs to be the same time every day in the morning and usually every time in the afternoon. When you have your puppy in a crate or in a playpen and you're in the house, the tendency is for you just to keep the crate right next to you while you work. Well, if you think about it, if you weren't home, you wouldn't be sitting right next to your puppy. So I would encourage you to separate your puppy from you while you work. Put the crate in another room. Put it somewhere where the puppy is away and alone so they can sleep. Puppies that don't get enough rest are cranky, they're bitey, they're more difficult to live with. So you want them to have adequate crate time. When it comes to lunchtime, they feed the puppy lunch and then they go back in their crate for their afternoon nap. If you want to put them in with a Kong, a stuffed Kong, that's always great for puppies. And you can see in the video Kongs and how to use them. You can go to my video, How to Crate Train a Puppy using the puppy crate game, which I can post above and in the description below. And that will show you how to help your puppy to like their crate. Set up your schedule, write it down so everyone knows it. And people aren't as likely then to pull the puppy out of the crate because they have a free spare moment. You need to keep to that schedule. It's very important because when you go back to work, there isn't going to be anyone there to have the puppy and play with them all day long. Second thing we need to do is exercise. We need to have a regimen of exercise. So I know you can't take your puppy out and socialize as much as you want to, but you can always have puzzle toys, Kongs. You can play games with the kids inside. Hide and seek is a great game for puppies where one person holds the puppy and someone else hides and then calls them. You can play the puppy come game where you sit in a circle and you call the puppy to you, one person at a time around the circle. It's good for your puppy. Then you can spread out to different areas of the room and your puppy can race back and forth to you. Training is so very important. You need your puppy to sit and lie down and come. Those are all things to help, but we also now need to work on teaching your puppy that you can be away from them. And this is where the mat training becomes important. Now you see 2 mats here on the floor, and I would encourage you to go to the video, Teach your dog to go to his mat, which I'll post above and also below in the description, where you can see how to teach your dog to go to his mat. But what you're going to do with your puppy is take a blanket, a mat, these are just bath mats, put one down on the floor right beside you, and then have your puppy lay on the mat while you are very close to them. You're not going to be very far away in the beginning. You're going to be really close. So we're going to ask Nikki to go, come on, Nikki, on your mat. Good girl. And as Nikki's on her mat, I'm going to feed her a treat. This is teaching her to be just a little further away from me. Yes, I was sitting here petting her. I love to pet her. I love to cuddle her. I love to work with her. And I'm just as dependent on my dogs as you are on your puppy right now. You want to be close to them. But for your puppy's sake, we need to help them to be a little independent. So I'm going to reward her again for being on her mat. You can start with putting your mat right beside a chair, right beside the sofa. And what you're going to do is, as your puppy's laying on the mat, you might move down to the other end of the sofa. Go back and feed your puppy. Your puppy is starting to learn that when they're laying on the mat, when they stay there, good things are happening. When they're on their mat, and now is your time to walk out of the room. But you're not going to do it all at once. Puppy's on the mat, you're going to give them a treat. You're just going to move a little bit. I'm going to walk out of sight just for a second or so, and then I'm going to come back in. I'm going to feed Nikki for staying on the mat. You should do that many, many times. In the beginning, it's just a few feet, and then maybe it's across the room, and maybe it's out of the room and back. All those things are helping your puppy to realize, oh, it's not so bad to have people walk away. Right now, you might have a puppy who follows you to the bathroom or follows you everywhere, and you want to develop some independence in the puppy. Also going to talk about pre-departure cues, and this applies to puppies, but even so, it also applies to adult dogs. What exactly are pre-departure cues? Well, you know, every morning before you went to work, you would get up and you had a routine. Your dog knew that routine. If your dog was in your home before the coronavirus pandemic, then your dog is familiar with your routine. You get up in the morning and you follow that routine, and your dog knows when you walk out that door, you're gone, and your dog can relax either in a crate, or if you have an adult dog, just laying in their bed waiting for you to come home. But your puppy doesn't know those pre-departure cues, but we need to start telling them that the pre-departure cues are something that doesn't necessarily mean you're leaving home. What you're going to do is you're going to think about a routine that you would go through before you go to work or go to school. Write them all down. And then you're going to look at them and say, okay, what was the last thing I do? Well, maybe it's you pick up your keys. And when you pick up your keys and go toward the door, that's the signal that you are leaving. So what you want to do is you want to start with working toward that signal that means you're leaving. The next thing, and this applies to dogs as well as to puppies, are dogs who were familiar with our normal daily routine are now all mixed up. You're at home all the time. It took them a while to get used to it. I had people who told me their dogs wanted them to leave because they weren't getting any sleep. So you have to make sure that your dog and your puppy are prepared for when we go back to work. And one of the first things is to help them to understand what they go through when we leave. So you're going to take pre-departure cues a couple days a week. Just get dressed like you're going to work. Walk downstairs. Don't make a big deal out of leaving your puppy. Go through the routine of you've got your shoes, you've got your purse, you've got your briefcase, you've got everything. Maybe you even pick up your keys and you walk toward the door. And look at your dog's reaction. If your puppy starts to get excited, thinking, okay, the only time he ever picks up the keys is when we go somewhere, maybe a little ride in the car. And so that means that you're going somewhere. You want your puppy to believe it means that your puppy stays home sometimes. When your puppy gets excited, you walk over, you put down the keys, and you sit down, and you don't go anywhere. And this will tell your puppy it's no big deal for you to pick up your keys. And in a few days, you go through the same routine. You get dressed. You're not going to be in your pajamas all day. You're going to get dressed like you're going to work. And you pick up the keys. And your puppy doesn't get excited. You walk to the door. You open the door. The key to this is you stop whenever your puppy or your dog starts to get excited. And you go put the keys down and you go sit down. You want to get to the point where you can walk over, pick up the keys, go over, open the front door, walk out the door, go get into your car, drive around the block, stay away for a couple minutes, and then come back. And then you don't make a big fuss over your puppy. When you do come back in the house, you act as if it's no big deal. Wait 5 minutes before you say hello to your puppy. All these things are going to develop independence in your dog, which is so crucial in our age of the coronavirus. So I hope in this video I've given you some ideas how to help your puppy to develop independence. Remember, crate training is important, scheduling, exercise, and pre-departure cues, so that your puppy will be prepared when you go back to work, your kids go back to school, and they will not develop separation anxiety. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of the episodes. Thank you, and bye from Joyce and Nikki at Diamond Dog Training. Bye-bye.